Like, obviously, you're 10 times the goalkeeper Blaine Hughes was.
Well, I'm 10 times the size of him. That's
So, Benny, tell me about this passenger we have in the back here, and your experience as well.
Oh my God! Listen, it seems like a lifetime away now, and it's great to see him back. That's the first thing I'd say. Back at home in Armagh. What a year it's been for us. The president of GAA handing over the cup to Aidan Falker, and let's hope this is more entertaining Carpool than Aidan Falker and Joe McElroy and McElroy Grimley. I'll tell you what, if you had trouble sleeping, that would soon knock you off.
Well, it would, and you know what, Benny? I'm being told there was about 15 takes for every.
Yeah, I'm known as one take Tierney because you might be surprised to hear that I haven't got a great fitness level. You know what I mean? So it's either once and that's it.
Well, I know anybody ever took a penalty against you always called themselves one take because it only took one take to get a goal against you.
Safety. Actually, we were talking about this last night. Me and Stevie McDonald used to have an old bet during club games that he wouldn't score a goal against me, and we were playing Clevie, and the next thing, penalty, and Stevie wasn't even the penalty taker, and he grabbed the ball off you by, and the scary thing is you had to have the tenner on you, so I had to hand him over a tenner on quite a few occasions. But sure, listen, it's all a bit of crack.
Sure, them days they took the penalty from 14 yards. Sure, you should never have conceded a penalty in them days.
But it was a big wet leather ball with
the ball was about 10 stone, like.
The ball was just lighter than me. No, we're not going back that far. But no, listen, it was great. It was great in 02, but I have to say, from a personal perspective, I found this year much more, even more enjoyable in the fact that you're watching instead of being involved. And I'll tell you something else. It was easier to be involved, and it was easier to play in, and it was easier to be a part of it than it was to watch. But I don't think I've cried too often in the last 20 odd years, but I blubbered like a child and hugged Ger Houlihan and Stevie McDonald at the final whistle. And just magic memories for my children who were too young to appreciate it back then, but got a realisation of what it was like now.
Yeah, I know. Just talking about the kids, Benny, I always regretted not taking my oldest boy Connor to the 02 final because I told Mary he was too young. Yeah. He was 5, and then of course I took him the following year in 03 against Tyrone.
He was basically a scud.
But he said to me when I met him after the game, he says, Dad, he says, that's it. He says, we can forget 02 now. You know, and I think there was a lot of relief for.
It's funny, you have a Connor and I have a Connor.
Yeah.
And Connor was at every game in 02 apart from the final, and he still, when he gets a pint or two into him, he still turns around to his mother and says, "You're not a fit mother because you never took me to the final." So it still rankles in our house as well, I can tell you.
But here, it must have been some relief for you guys as well, Benny, you know, because you're always known as the 02 team, and you always will be, and you'll always be legends. But to now pass that mantle on to Aidan and all the boys, and there's a lot of young boys in that Armagh team, and please God, it'll not be their first experience. But I know, talking to Paul McArdle and the likes of yourself and Stevie and them boys, you're so pleased for this group now that have come through the way they've done it. Like,
yeah, it's hard to believe, because I remember somebody saying to me from Derry, "You'd be sort of annoyed now that, you know, that team won." And I went, "What?" And nothing could have been further from the truth. We were sort of labelled the team that won in a row team, and that it would never happen again. And it's just so brilliant the way it did happen. And anybody who's played Gaelic football at a high level or an inter-county level knows the amount of work that went into it. And there was a huge amount of work that went into it in our time, but I think that's doubled over the years. So to follow the lads and to feel the excitement and to do it with your family, you can't buy experiences or emotions like that. There's nothing in this world. You know, you talk about your children being born and things like that there, but from a living experience and outside of that, there's nothing in this world that will ever replicate what I experienced and what those lads experienced, both as a player and both as a spectator.
Yeah. The thing that I have been lucky enough to be involved this year as chairman, but see the joy that cup has brought to everyone, young and old. And I remember being in the athletic grounds on the Monday when that massive crowd came to welcome the team home, and standing up on the stage and looking out and going, there's children out there who are going to win the All-Ireland for Armagh. They don't know it yet, but they'll trace it back to this day. And it was just tremendous to watch that. Like.
Yeah, but from a principal of a school where you know, Gaelic football obviously is quite big, but it's not massive. You know, there's plenty of other diversions in sport where I teach. But from the day and hour that we went on this run, there's been nothing but Armagh tops, and the children are worshipping. The likes of Aidan Faulkner and Ben Creeley and Blaine Hughes and Conor Mackin and boys like that there, instead of your normal soccer Premier League footballers now. And that can only add to what we're trying to do in Armagh with this new training centre. You know, we are a progressive county, we're moving places and we're trying to do things right. And this, along with the new training facilities and the new breed of footballers that hopefully will come out of this, we're going to be in the top table for quite some time.
Yeah, and listen, you mentioned Portadown there and the new development of St Malachy's, and it's been so long coming, Benny, it's almost as if people don't believe it's happening. But all you have to do is drive down there now, and anytime I go down and you go through the gate and you see 2 green pitches, fencing up, the gym started last week, and it's real now, and this squad will reap the benefits, but more importantly, moving forward, there's going to be a lot of new Armagh lads coming through, and girls, camogues and lady footballers are going to come through and reap the benefits of a proper training facility, and that's massive for us. Like.
Well, I think it is, and it's like, you know, I would sort of compare it to, you know, a couple building their house. You know, every time you turn up at the site, you see that new piece going on, you see the brickwork and things like that there. And from a county board perspective, you know, when you're going down there and you're seeing what you're working towards, and you see the vision that Armagh have now in this new training facility, and the amount of young people who will benefit from it. Now, other counties have it as well, and possibly we've seen the benefit that they've got from it. So this is going to be massive for Armagh. A whole new training centre for everyone, for all footballers and all sports in the GAA in Armagh. So it's massive, and it's something even an old man like me, even though I wasn't known for my training, I might even go down and watch the training session. Well, I watch most training sessions I was involved in anyway, but it'll be great to go down and see it, and when it's finished, and to watch it being used for the future and the benefit of all Gaelic footballers and hurlers in Armagh, and camogues and lady footballers.
Well, tell me this now.
Yeah.
Now we have 2 All-Ireland winning teams.
Yeah.
Comparing the 2 teams. Now we'll start off with yourself. Like, obviously you're 10 times the goalkeeper Blaine Hughes was.
Well, I'm 10 times to say something.
But your kick-outs are longer. Your shot saving much better. And I would love to have seen you going up the pitch with that ball with the elbows out, Tierney. I'd love to have seen that in the O2 final.
Well, the only thing is I probably would have needed an Uber to get me back to the goals. But yeah, listen, I don't like to compare, but I saw a lot. I saw a lot in this team that I saw in our team. You know, I saw a lot of leaders. You know, when you even look at Blaine Hughes' story, for example.
Oh,
do you know what I mean? He was away and he's come back, and he's had a massive year for us, and was robbed of an All-Star in my opinion as well.
Absolutely.
But you just watch those players grow, you know, throughout the whole campaign, and you know, you had all the stories, and you had McElroy Grimley as well, and all these things that came to fruition. But you know, you could see it. I could see it from afar, just looking at the team growing with every game and getting better with every game. And then with that comes a level of expectation from us, and from supporters and from press and everything else. And then of course you had Geeser's, you know, growth even through all the stuff that went on prior to that, you know, and the perfect ending for him. And not only that, listen, the man deserved it and the team deserved it.
And he's the common denominator between the 2, of course.
Listen,
and that's important, I think, too.
Listen, he's the link from our team to this team.
Correct.
I'd say nothing really changed with his demeanour or with his attitude or with his commitment. He's only ever been a total icon for Armagh, and he just finished it off this year brilliantly. But if I know Geeser, and I do know Geeser, he's already planning next year. He would have been planning it maybe 2 or 3 days. I can remember after the O2 final when we were all, the day after we were heading for the Carpool, and everybody was dancing around the bus, and I looked at the front of the bus, and there was McGrain and McGeaney, and they were just sitting in quiet conversation. I said, lads, are we not partying here? What's the story? And Paul McArdle turns around and he says, it's going to be hard to do this again next year. And I went, oh my God, would you spend 24 hours celebrating this one before you plan next year? But that was the mindset of Geeser then, and that's probably why we're All-Ireland champions.
Well, there's no doubt, Benny, you know, and you mentioned Paul there as well. You know, lucky enough to get to know those fellas over the last couple of years, and like the dedication to Armagh is beyond belief. Like it's there consistently. They're thinking about it all the time, and you know what we have achieved this year. It's very simple. wouldn't have happened without Kieran. Like, there's no chance.
Oh, no. Listen, you used the words there. He was the common denominator, and he always is the common denominator. And he was the same. He was the same with our club, but he was the same with the county, and he's the same with Armagh as a manager. And it's very hard to go. I still think it's very hard to go from that player, you know, that icon as a player to that icon as a manager. But if you listen to the boys under his charge, they worship him, and that's why, you know, they'll do anything for him, and that's why he has this Midas touch as a manager, that he can get the best. And if Kildare are still talking about the fact that they let him go, do you know what I mean?
Yes.
They're still ruining the fact that they let him go. So we reaped the benefit of it. It took a while, and it took 10 years, I think, to build the team and to get the formation he wanted and to get the players that he wanted, all in situ. But listen, it all turned out brilliantly, and we're all delighted for Geezer and the boys as well. And I don't think there's going to be anybody left in Armagh for the Galway match. Do you know what I mean?
No chance.
You know what I mean? And I know I'm listening. Already last night we were booking Killarney. We booked Galway weeks ago.
Yeah.
But that's now what we're doing. We're rolling ourselves in behind this. Now, listen, we don't know what's going to happen this year, but by God, if it's anything like last year, it's going to be exciting times again in Armagh.
Well, that's what we do. We travel the country. But here, listen, I want to ask you a question. Falker thinks he owns this Jeep. What do you think? Me and you pull rank here.
Well,
like you're a principal.
I think if you could pull a stroke and I could win it, that would be even better.
Yeah.
I'd give you a few pound back, like, do you know what I mean? And we are in South Armagh, like. But listen, it's a great. We have to get behind the fundraising. I mean, obviously, St Malachy's is a work in progress, and you know everything needs money, and that's why we're doing. That's why we're hoping to raise much more money for this cause. But I think, you know, if you were driving down to Galway on the 26th of January in a Land Rover Jeep, that now would be the perfect journey. That
would be the perfect journey, Benny, especially when you have a passenger like Sam sitting here in the back seat.
Absolutely.
He's very quiet today, though.
Yeah, he's definitely not Sam O'Neill.
No.
Yeah, listen, it's great to have him as a passenger, and wouldn't it be even better if we had him as a passenger next year again?
Well, that's the plan, Benny, of course, and as you mentioned, no doubt Kieran's plotting that for next year as well, and of course we have the new rules. What do you think of that?
I'm sort of, I don't know, I'm betwixt and between with them. Listen, I hope it turns the game into more of a spectacle. We tend to be with Geezer this year. We tend to look at our football when we played it back in the through rose-tinted glasses. You know, it's only when you look back at some of the games, you go, they were a bit average. You thought you were playing in the clinker, but by today's terms, they were average. Listen, I'm hoping that they will improve the game. I'd be a wee bit worried about the more, you know, I thought referees were already under too much pressure, and I think they're under more pressure now, which might have a negative effect on it. But hopefully it'll work out, and hopefully it'll be, well, one thing's for sure, Geezer will be prepared for it.
Oh, there's absolutely no doubt they'll be prepared, and as well most of the top managers, they'll have been looking at this. You know, we're going to see a game today in Armagh, which will be played under the rules for the first time, and it'll make the National League very interesting, Benny, because as you know, number one objective when you're in Division 1 is to stay in it.
Yeah, I think it's very important that Armagh stay in Division 1 this year. So like, and the new rules, I know that there's a game going on today. I know there's a few Mullaban boys involved in that as well. So it's exciting times for these boys who are trying to break into the panel and into Geezer's panel as well. But listen, staying in Division 1 will be foremost in our thoughts, but obviously the Ulster Championship will still be there in the background. We're the only province that really values our championship at this stage. And it really is an exciting time. People are still feeding off that positivity from last year, and we're moving into January now, and we just can't wait to get to Galway. And it's not even, sometimes it's not even about the game. It's about getting a crowd of Armagh people down there, and as you say, for the crack, maybe an old pint of stout, and talk about it. And that's when we're talking about our game, we're keeping it alive. And here, Benny, given that you're a former All-Ireland winner, any chance you can get me a ticket for the first round game against Antrim in the Championship next year? Absolutely, because I know it took you 2 weeks to get me a ticket for the All-Ireland final. You miserable git. What could I do? You made me all sorts of promises and you never came through any of them. And that ticket for the hill for me granny is well appreciated, I can tell you. She was alright, Stan, she was. She was alright, she's been in hospital since. But yeah. She had a bad hip. What about her good leg? Will she be able to take freeze this year? Yeah, you're very generous, I have to say, lovely people. No, it's all good. Like I said, the positivity and the feedback, and I don't know, I've never seen so many people as excited for a National League game in Galway. It's unbelievable, isn't it? It's unreal. And it's great that it is the two All-Ireland champions, you know. And you saw the other side of it too. You saw the hurt that Porrick Joyce had to go through as well. And, you know, I know Porrick as well, and a great man, and very similar to Geezer in his commitment and determination. So a great game ahead, you know. I'll meet a few friends down there from Galway as well. Hopefully I can go down for the 2 nights, Paul, as you know. No, 1 night's not enough in Galway. No, 1 night's no good at your age, Benny. Tucked in by 9 o'clock. Listen, it's all great and we're all looking forward to it.